afternoon, friends. We have a made in Japan Fender Telecaster on the bench today, and the guy has sent me two guitars up from London to work on. They're both going to need fret levels and reprofiling. And what can I tell you about this? Well, not a lot. Made in Japan. I don't know when. There's no serial number on it. It just says made in Japan on the back. And I'll show you. This is a deluxe model by the looks of it. We have a humbucker in the neck, single coil. We have a switch there. I'd imagine that is a split for the humbucker, a humbucker split. Not quite sure. You've got a three-way on there. No tip on there. We'll see if we've got a spare one knocking about. Pots, one volume, one tone. Both scratchy. We need to sort the electrics out. And there it is. It's a fine looking instrument. Now, why has he sent it up here all the way to Nottingham? And he says it just plays horrible. He says it chokes out at the top and blah 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 blah. And I can tell you straight away why. Neck's way too straight. No relief in that. It's dead straight, that neck. It's probably even got a little bit of back bow in it. So I'd have thought I'm gonna look at the setup with the guitar as it is. Now you'll notice this has got compensated saddles on there. The other guitar is sent up, hasn't got compensated saddles. We've got to bought some, and we'll do that in another video later. This is a Fender is sent up. It's also sent up a classic vibe Telecaster, same as the one I bought a couple of years back, and it needs the bridge changing out on it, and we're going to want the same thing. But what I've said is, not because the frets are high, I've not checked the frets to see if they're high, but these frets, though quite weedy, they have flat tops. They are completely flat on the top, and that is going to cause buzzing problems and choking out problems. We're going to need to re-crown those, so whether it needs a level or not, we're going to re-crown it. I've always costed him up for the job. Already done that, so £135 for work, £5 for a set of strings, that's £140 on this one. And the other one will be having the same, £140, having the same fret level and what have you, but the other one wants a new bridge, so it's going to cost him about £300 plus his postage back. So that's what we are going to do. It will be having a complete setup, this will. What I'm going to do now is, I'm going to actually have a look at the neck, see where we are. And we can't alter the truss rod with the neck on because the adjuster is at the far end. So we're going to take the neck off and adjust everything. So what I'm going to do, I'll tell you what I normally do with a guitar like this is I normally set them up with the old strings on. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm going to set this up properly when I've got all the work done. So what I'm going to do is, I've already played this, I've had it plugged in. It plays okay, but the notes do choke out, so it does want a proper setup. I'm going to get the strings off with this one. I already know the electrics what I'm looking at. I'm going to get the strings off. Going to sort the electrics out. We're going to have a look at the neck. We're going to have a look at the frets. I'll come back when I'm ready to look at the frets, and we'll go across the frets together, and I'll tell you exactly what I think the neck. Well, I already know what it needs, but I can show you the frets a little bit closer. I'm going to have to take the neck off anyway towards the truss rod. So I'm going to take the neck off, and we'll have a closer look in a few minutes. So we may as well have a camera running while I remove these strings. I'll show some cutters in here somewhere. Here we are. We'll just loosen the strings and nip these off. Two at a time, like so. There you go. Poke these through. And the guitar needs to go clean as well, so we'll give it a go clean. We seem to have got a string stuck in there. See if we get, we've got them all out. So it looks like a set of Dioderios on there. We'll be replacing these strings with Dioderios anyway. I'd imagine a 9 set of 10 if whoever prefers. So one string has decided to mess me about. So we've got those. We're going to need something in there to give it a poke. Yeah, like these look. Just go inside, give it a poke about. There you go. And put it up that way. There you go, sorted. So we're going to remove the neck. In a moment, I'm just going to get rid of these strings. Really easy. You'll see the reason I cut the ends off there is because now I've got them all at this end. We can just wrap them up like so. And we can bin them. And quick and easy as that. Beautiful. Just get them out of the way for now. These are my favourite tuners, by the way. that's on this guitar. I love these, one where you poke a little bit of string inside the barrel there. Don't like locking tuners, never have. So that is that. I'm going to remove the neck. With a trusty electric job here. We may find there's a shim under this neck or in the neck pocket. That neck should now be off, and it is. And I can leave a screw in there like that if they're going to stay in there. And there you go, that's what's inside the neck pocket there. LC-62B, there you go. Don't know what that means. And TLC-62B on the neck there. There's your made in Japan under the lacquer there. No serial number on anything. And there's your truss rod adjuster, you see. Now straight away I can have a look at the neck. And that neck is a little bit of back bow in there. We're gonna just loosen off this truss rod here. Oh, it's loose anyway. Okay, so your problem is going to be with a truss rod super loose. We're going to have to bend this neck straight by the looks of it, because that is dead straight. In fact, it's got a little bit of back bow in it, so I'm going to let the owner know I'm going to need to bend this the opposite way. I'm going to get some heat in there and I'm going to bend this back. It's going to cost him more money, obviously, but I might as well just let him know now, because I can't level the frets till that neck is dead straight. It's got some back bow in it right now, so that is another little obstacle we've got to overcome, which we will do. And this one's going to go on hold for a little while. I'm going to move on to his next guitar. Right, so I don't know if you're probably not going to see from the angle you're at, but we have a truss rod loose, which I'll show you. The truss rod was loose, it's loose. And the thing is with that is the neck is bowed. It's got some back bow that way. With the truss rod loose, that's not good. We need to have it at least, with the truss rod loose, this neck should be straight. So we're going to back clamp it, and we're going to put something in the middle there, and we're going to clamp this and clamp this tighter, and we're going to bend the neck, and we're going to put a little bit of relief in there, or at least get it straight. Can't work on that with it as it is, because I can't level the frets with a not straight neck. So this one's a little bit on hold. It's completely, there you go. Take the truss rod, crumb it off. Right, that's off. So truss rod adjuster off, and we have back bow. I don't think you're going to see from where you are, but let me show you. I can definitely see we've got back bow there. You can tell the way that wobbles there, look. So where we are in the middle, it's higher. The neck is like that. It's got a bit of bow in there, so we need to get it straight, otherwise it's firewood. I can do it, no problem. It means I've just got to get gentle heat in there, because it's a lacquered neck. If I hit it with too much heat while it's clamped, it will melt the lacquer and it will spoil the finish. So we're going to coax this back. I've taken the tuners off, as you can see. They go in the pot. Everything always goes in the pot. Everything has a pot. But what I've done in the meantime, while I can do no other work on this guitar, I'm just going to have a look at the electrics. And what I've done is, let's take these out. There's no good just leaving these in there like that. What it's doing is ripping up the work surface, and we don't want that. The idea of putting these paper strips on the yoga mat underneath to stop the yoga mat being replaced every few months. So there you go. So we have, there you go. I'm just checking what the electrics do. Right, that is a coil split. Because it's got earth wire, it's got a coil split wire. So that is a coil split for the humbucker in the neck. Now these pots are very, very scratchy. So we're going to spray some switch cleaner in there. Now my switch cleaner of choice always has been Service Super 10. And that's what I'm going to grab right now. We're going to clean up these pots and clean up the switch. And that's another job done out of the way, isn't it? So there you go, Service Super 10. And what I do is, because I can't work on this, I'll get to work on the other one. Even though I can't finish that, I can level the frets. And what have you. So we'll get some switch cleaner in there. We'll get some switch cleaner in there. More than we need. It's always a good thing. And all we need to do now is work these knobs backwards and forwards. And that should take care of the scratching. The scratchy pots. All it's doing is cleaning the contacts. We'll get some in the switch as well. Select a switch, you would say. We'll work some of that in. I should have cloth knocking about. There you go, that's what I do. Wipe up any excess anything. So that should have sorted the knobs and the switch out. The wiring's tidy enough in there. Nothing untoward. Green wires are earth wires. That's the red and the white, which is the coil split. It's just on the one pickup, so it will be on the neck pickup, which is this one. Don't know what pickup it is. I'm not going to take the cover off to have a look. I'm not really interested in what pickup it is. It doesn't really bother me, things like that. There's some grime and crap in there though, which we're going to get out right now. There's no point leaving that in there, and it's built up over the. It's built up over the wax. This is going to be wax potted. I may have to get a razor blade in there. Got one knocking about somewhere. Oh, it's got razor blades knocking about. Or Stanley blade, should I say. Don't seem to want to come out, so we'll just grab one this way, shall we? My goodness, everything's been awkward today. It's only Monday. Yeah, it's wax, look. Build up a crap all on the wax. Now it's got rid of it, now that pickup looks brand new again. Okay, let's take that back on there. So that's done its job. We're going to wipe. Shall we take the plate off and have a look, see what pickup it is? Tell you what, no, can't be bothered. Right, so it's all quite dirty there. We're going to grab some guitar cleaner. Ross the dog's in here today. He's having a nap down here. Aren't you, Ross? He's having a nap like a good boy. He is. A very good boy. I need to grab some new guitar cleaner. Now, over years I've been using Dunlop 65, but I might go and have a look at Music Nomad stuff, because some of this stuff's supposed to be pretty good. I've got carbon over wax in here. This dries up more when I use it. Still plenty in there. It's not really a cleaner, but I'm going to use it as a cleaner. Some carbon over wax. I'm going to use that as a cleaner because I don't use it for polishing guitars because it's just faff. So let's get this on here. In fact, let's spread some about. We get some on there as well. I'm going to use it as a cleaner right now, just to get all any gunk or what have you off a scratch plate that's built up, just to clean it all up, make it look nice. Go over the top of the pot of the pickups there, and we're going to get into this brush plate. And again, there's quite a bit of grime built up in there. I'm not going to get right into it because I can't really do that, but what I can do is I can get some compressed air. We can give them a blowout later on. And this is just a quick clean, just to get rid of anything that's built up. Because it is a bit grimy. Yeah, I've noticed on the neck of the guitar there's a build-up of dead skin and grime and sweat and what have you. And it's not very nice. Oops. But there you go, and that's just given the guitar a little clean, made it look a lot better. And the job. It's a good one. So those, everything in there now should be scratch free. I could do with something in there because there is that screw in there is a little bit loose. Now I do have some cocktail sticks knocking about. What have I done with them? If not, I will have something else somewhere. It would have been logical of me to put one in that drawer there, but I haven't. So they have gone somewhere that's I don't know at the moment. We'll just put screws in as they are. Maybe I could stick some paper in there. What have I got knocking about? I've got nothing knocking about. Oh well, we'll just put it back in. It seems to be in there pretty safe. So yeah, so the pots will now be scratch free, as will the switch. Well, that's tight enough in there. Oh, that's all tight, what I'm thinking. I've got a feeling it was loose, it's not. We'll give this a little clean. Now I'm going to look for a switch tip for this. I don't think I have a Telecaster one, the top hat one. But we can have a look, can't we? So my guy's not got back to me yet because it's gonna. I was charging 50 quid for straightening my neck, and that's cheap. I should be charging 100 quid for straightening the neck. Let's try and play guitar with not straight neck. It's not labour intensive, but it's time consuming, if you know what I mean. Because it has to be clamped back for a while. You have to get the heat in there, and you have to set everything up and what have you. And you do have to be very careful. You don't get too much heat in there, because I've scorched guitar necks before, and that doesn't go down well. I may have telly switch. Let's have a look over here in the box. Right, we're at 20-30 drawers here. I've got no idea which one those parts are in, so I'm going to open every one. Is it this one? There's lots of floor on those bits. Oh, getting closer. I thought the fender bits always seem to be down this end. No. Fender bits in there. Nuts. Yeah. Nope, but it's got some fender parts in there. What would be in it, that one? Switch tips, where have you gone? Okay. Nope. Oh, there we go. Switch tips. Oh! Fortunate son. Now, have we got one that fits? We do have the top hat, but we don't have one that fits. No, we've got that one there. No, they don't fit. So we're going to have to go with something. So that's quite a wide switch. It's a very wide switch. I think at the moment, if we've got anything that fits, we'll just put it on. Because anything is better than nothing. That doesn't fit either. So all these are mine are the narrow ones. So we're going to. I can't even make one fit either. These are all rounded ones. So I don't have any Fender ones. Don't have anything that fits. Does that fit? Nope. Right, the dog has just let one go. What are you doing? You stink. Out. Off you go. Out. You stink. That's Ross the dog. He's just farted. It really smells horrible. Can't work in these conditions. So no, I don't have a switch tip that fits, unfortunately. So I was going to go without. I'll send it back as is. That's a shame. I know I might have had some of these. I've got them. But that slot is not wide enough. I've got two of them up. That one's split as well. That one can go there, the other one can go in the bin. So, regarding that guitar, we're in limbo. because anything I can do on it I've already done. We've done the electrics, we've cleaned everything up. Just get in there, I'm going to get some compressed air in there in a minute, blow all the dust out of the way. Everything looking rather nice. Grab some compressed air. And what we can do is blow away any dust that's still in here. There you go. Wunderbar. So this one is on hold until the owner gets back to me. I'm going to charge him 50 quid straight in the neck. It's a very fair price. So there you go. This one is on hold. I'm going to move on to the next one. Back soon, guys. So this is about as simple as a job as you're going to get. I have the neck, it's not even clamped down, there's 2 blocks of wood underneath the neck heel and the headstock. I have a strip of steel about 2.5mm thick and about 30mm wide across the middle. And I just have 2 clamps, 2 F clamps, just holding the neck in a smiley type. I can't do it from that angle. With lots of relief in there, so that's sort of like a smile. Just pulling down, and we're just going to get some heat in there. Truss rod adjuster is off the guitar completely, so there's no truss rod in there at the moment. And we're going to bend it. It looks like we're bending it a lot. We're not. We've gone slightly. It looks slightly exaggerated because when I take the heat off, the neck will spring back. So we're looking to get it pretty much straight. Now what I'll do with the iron is this, I've got it on a high heat and we'll move it about. We'll put it that side and we'll put it that side, and we just want to get some heat to penetrate the wood. And it's going to take a while, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the heat down quite a bit to about just over half, and we're going to take us time and do this. So we're just going to let the iron do the work over time. While that's happening, I'm going to crack on with something else on the other bench. But yeah, I can already feel some heat is getting slightly into the wood. It will take time. I'll have to keep coming back checking this every 15-20 minutes, just making sure we're getting some heat in there. But the main heat is going to be in this middle part, and it should start to spread across the neck. But we don't really need to get any more heat in it other than these places here. But we'll see. We've just got to be patient, and we'll come back, keep checking, and all being well, we'll get the neck at the very least straight. Hey guys, so an update on the neck, and yeah, it won't look fantastic from the angle you're seeing it at because there's residue where I covered over the inlays. I've got to glue that one back in because it popped out, well, because I've used heat obviously to straighten the neck, but the neck is straight, or as straight as we can get it. Bar, there's a little kink just here that I can't quite get out perfectly, but it's as straight as we're going to get it, or straight as I can get it. What we're going to do is we're going to make the level across the top of the frets. So, you know, best of a bad job. But this happens with these guitars. I'm not pleased with these frets. There's a little bit of a gap under these frets. I can almost get my nail under there. I wonder if it'd go for a refret, because this might benefit from having a refret. There's just gaps there. But what we can do with this now is we can level. I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to clean all this residue off the wood. And I'm going to, because I've treated it with heat, the fingerboard has shrunk in a little bit so you can feel the edges of the frets. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp this back up. I'm going to get a wet tea towel, let it soak over top. I'm going to steam the fingerboard, get some steam in there, and it's going to expand the wood back to where it should be. And these frets that are sticking out will no longer be sticking out. Then we're going to come and get it level. So I've charged way too little for the amount of work I'm going to do on this neck. I've charged him 50 quid for straightening it, and it's a lot of work. It's had a lot of hours already. But you know, that's fine. But I'm going to clean all this residue off, and like I said, I'm not going to film every single thing I do, but I'm going to steam this just so it expands just that little bit more. So these fret edges, so I don't have to just file these fret edges down. And then we're going to get, once we've got as level as we can, we are going to get it all clamped up, and we're going to level these frets. We're going to check the height. I don't think this would. I think having a refret. I don't think having a refret would harm this, because there are gaps. Can you see here under these frets? If I grabbed my feeler gauge, it's knocking about somewhere. Where it is, right here. And I wonder if I should contact the client and just say, look, I didn't really notice it before, says, but these gaps under the frets, have you considered having a refret? But there you go, you see. See, look, it goes under the frets. Now, it's not just, okay, that one doesn't go under there, but I'd say around about 0.1, 0.15. I could pretty much leave it. It's not rare to see some slight gaps under frets. They're probably not as deep as I thought, but there are slight gaps here, 0.15, just in the middle area. So we could run some super glue in there, I don't know. No, they're definitely gaps. Let me bring this closer. Oh, not that so much that one, but in there, look, 0.15 mil. I think this has been refretted before, but lacquer says it hasn't. Because we've got the height on the frets, I'm going to level it and see where we are after I've leveled it. So let me get it all cleaned up, let me get this re-steamed. I probably will film a little bit of it, show you exactly how I go on with steaming that fretboard. But that's where we are right now. So I'm not going to do a great lot of work on this today, I'm just going to get it cleaned up and get it prepped, ready for steaming and leveling tomorrow. You have to excuse the mess at this side of the room, but I have the fender neck back being clamped, because this side, even though this side was straight, this side wasn't. There's still a bit of back bow there, and there's a little kink at this end. So what I've done is I've gone one side with the steel strip, and I've just had the heat just concentrating there and there. I've had some gentle heat. I've got it just under straight, so I've got a little tiny bit of relief in there. Heat it with a bit of relief, it will spring back. That is more or less dead straight where it is now. I've had heat in there with the iron. I'm letting it cool down right now. There's heat through the wood in this area, and that will be enough just to bring that edge straight. We're already straight on the far side, so I'm happy with that. So I think the neck is going to be straighter than it was. So I think we're going to be more or less perfectly straight, and that way we can move this on a little bit later. Now what I'm going to need to do later on is, like I say, because we've got heat in the neck, the fingerboard has shrunk, or the fretboard has shrunk, it's gone a little bit. So we are going to, I'm going to get this wet, a wet tea, well I will have a wet tea towel there later on. We'll get something on there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to steam the top of the fingerboard. No clamps or anything, just steam the top, get some steam into that wood, and it will expand and push back out, and these frets will no longer be sticking out. Once that is done, we can get it all clamped up ready for levelling and re-crowning those frets. So this, done quite a bit more work on this than I've charged for. I've charged him 50 quid to straighten the neck. I should be charging £150 easily for straightening the neck, because it's a lot of work and it's quite intricate, and you've got to be careful you don't melt anything or scorch anything. This has had some hours so far, but I did say I was going to charge 50 quid, and I'm happy to charge 50 quid for straightening the neck. End of the day, it's all about customer satisfaction, and I'm 100% confident that the customer will be satisfied with this neck and this guitar once it is finished. So we're going again with this Fender neck. It still wasn't quite right. Still a little bit of back bow in there, because I undercompensated when I straightened it back again. So what I'm doing is I've forced it straight by altering these ones, especially this one at this end. I forced it straight where it's supported underneath, And we're just going to get some gentle heat in there again. So what we do is, with it forced straight, we're going to go back with the metal strip or the steel strip. I probably don't need to clamp this down, but I'm going to. Now what I'm not doing is, I'm not going to cover the whole fingerboard with tape, but I am going to cover the inlays, because the inlays tend to scorch. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my tape from down here. I'm just going to tape over the ones where I'm applying the heat. I'm applying the heat mainly at this end, so we're just going to, and again, we're not going with major heat, nice steady heat. But I am going to clamp that strip on there, but only ever so lightly. We're going to just get gentle heat here, nothing major. So let me go and grab a couple of clamps. I don't even know where I'm going to clamp it. I'm staying out of the way so you can see what I'm doing, but that neck is now forced straight. The truss rod is loose. Got no tension on that truss rod whatsoever. I'm going to grab a couple of clamps. Great thing about this end is it's going to clamp under here. So let me just get in there. Well, the closest or the furthest away I can get it is there. So let me get sorted. Like I say, we don't need heat everywhere, so just gonna not put any great strain on this. Sorry if my elbow's in the way, it's just the way it is. In fact, I'm just go a little bit back with that, reason being I want to get the iron in there. So there's that, that's there. And we've got a good clamp, and I think getting it somewhere around here will be pretty good. I'll just put something between the neck and the clamp. Let me grab some old business cards I've got knocking about down here, just to protect everything. And I do want enough room at the end so I can get the iron, the clothes iron in there. So what we're going to do is here, we're just going to gently clamp. Like I said, we don't need any great. And there you go. And that is the heat source, which will be, or the strip we're heating will be, this is the conductive plate where the heat is going to go through. And all we're going to do is we're going to grab regular clothes iron again. We've gone with my better clothes iron, not in steam mode, and I'm just going on 2. That's all I'm going to do. And this is it. I'm going to let that gently heat in that area and come back in this area, just those 2 areas, 5 minutes at a time. I'll keep setting alarms, I'll keep swapping over 5 minutes. We're just going to get some heat in there, and we're going to take away that little bit of mid hump I've got back in there. That should be absolutely fine. Once this is set, I'm going to leave it on here for levelling. We're going to level on this jig because that is going to be the level. And what I may need to do before I complete that, by the way, is take this off and maybe squeeze these frets in with a clamp or with a fret press, because some of them may have popped up. So we'll see where we are with that, but I'll get back to you on this one. It's been very long-winded. It said about 6 hours already. I'm going to charge him 50 quid for straightening my neck. Welcome back, guys. So the Fender neck is off the jig. And now I have a hand fret press which I bought from Canada. I'd imported quite a while ago, and I'm pressing these frets back in. And I'll show you the piece of equipment and I'll show you why I'm pressing them back in. But these frets seem to have lifted in the centre. Maybe it's because of the heat, maybe they were like that when the guitar came here. This fret press, great piece of kit. Got a 9.5 inch coil in there to match the radius of the guitar. It's just a matter of pressing the frets in getting them central, and blah 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 blah. So I've just pressed that one in. Do I need to glue them? I don't know yet. I might do, yeah, we'll see. Oh, we don't have quite enough press on there, so I'm just going to tighten slightly. And it's a very simple but effective method. These fret pressers are great pieces of kit, and we just make sure we get as central as we can, and we just squeeze and hold. There's plenty of squeeze on there. You don't need to go mega tight, you just need to press them back in gently. Now this will be going slightly back on the jig just to bend it, because there is still a little bit of back bow in there, which I don't mind. Don't mind a little bit of back bow in there. We're going to straighten it, get it straight on the jig, and we're going to level on the jig over there where I've just removed it from. And that is fine, because I don't mind it having a tiny bit of back bow, because the string tension is going to pull it back straight or over straight. So these are pressing in nicely. I don't think they need glue. In fact, they don't need glue. I'm just going to get these all pressed back in. I've got different cores underneath. I've got a flat one for that end, and I've got a rubber for the bit where the heel joins, where there's that little arc. So it's just a matter of me getting this lined up and getting all the frets pressed back in, like so. And it can be tricky sometimes, especially when you only, you know. There you go. And again, just a squeeze and a hold, and that is going to be enough. I could wick some super glue in there and wait for each one to glue. I may actually do that off camera. Again, time, but I'm not charging for. But that's fine. Look at those, look, they're clamping in beautiful. So I'm going to crack on, get all those done. Once they're done, we'll go back on the jig, we'll get the neck dead straight, and we'll go and level the frets and crack on with the job. So I've decided to go the long but proper route, and I'm gluing these frets in. So I'm going to need one of these little things on the end of my runny super glue. It took me a while to find these things because I couldn't remember where I put them. This workshop does not function as well as it ought because it's not that tidy, and I'm very restricted in space. But what we're going to do is we're going to just wick some super glue in here. It will wick under the fret itself on both sides, and again, more work for me because there you go, I just spilt super glue on there, which is fine. More work for me because I'm not charging for this. And so I've also got to scrape the glue off, blah blah blah. It's just a matter of getting that fret where it needs to be, clamping it in and leaving it a good 30-40 seconds. They'll do its thing and coming in with a scraper and scraping the excess glue off. But this is going to make sure the frets are seated correctly. Not worried about any glue getting on top of the frets because I've got to level them anyway. But this is, again, time consuming. It's going to take me a while. I'm not charging for it. It's going to make the job, you know, proper. So I'm going to crack on, get that done, get all these frets glued back in because they could have lifted because of the heat. They could have been lifted anyway. But at least it gives us a proper job. They will be seated correctly. I've got a good foundation to work from. I can level the frets afterwards. So a lot more work than I envisaged. Certainly a lot more work than I'm charging for. But you know, let's get it done right, and let's get it's all about customer satisfaction. I'm not going to add anything on to the expenses. It's going to be what it is, or what I've already quoted. It'll take me a while to do this, I'll be back later. So I'm going to be leveling the frets on that Fender, and that Fender has a 7 1/4 inch radius. So I've got a 7 1/4 inch radius beam here, sanding beam, and I need to get this 240 grit sandpaper on there. Now, some people would use double-sided sticky tape, but the thing is with that is it's really hard to get off here. So what I do is I do something better. I put masking tape on first, then I put the double-sided sticky tape on top of the masking tape. So how does this work? Well, either we get the right length of tape, or we go a little bit over, and we come back and we're gonna lay the tape on there like so. And what you could do is at the ends, I forgot to do this, put some on the ends, just overlap it, underlap there, and overlap on the edges, and that means we'll be able to get it off easier later. And there you go, and there's one, and we'll do one at the other end. And we're going to lay on a layer of masking tape, like so. Just like that, and we'll do the same again. And just because I want to get the length right, we'll do a measure. So we're going to go there. And again, we're going to do the same again. Now, what you don't want is, you can get this close without getting right up to it, but you don't want to overlap because it's going to mess about with the radius. So what you do is just bring it right up close to the last one. It's going to maintain that radius, but don't overlap. And there you go, like so. And one more. Like I say, do not overlap. You can leave a tiny line gap, as I've done here, very, very tiny gap between the two pieces. Look at that, there you go. And that has maintained that radius on the base. And what we could do again is, we can go again. Start from this end, and we're going to get an overlap. So where them gaps were there won't be any gaps anymore because we overlapped. Alright, same again. Here. And like I say, make sure you don't overlap. And we've maintained the radius, we've got no gaps. And now, when we come to removing the sandpaper off here in the future, we won't have all the double-sided sticky tape on the beam itself. There you go, so we've maintained the radius. That's all good there. These ends we can just get some scissors and nip those off if we want to. Could leave them on, but best to just nip them off. And that is, we maintain the radius on the beam. And we're able to get the sandpaper off at a later date. So now what we're going to do is, I'm going to get some double-sided sticky tape, which I've got here. And we're going to do exactly the same thing we've just done with a double-sided sticky. This is what we're going to stick the sandpaper to. And I've got two different widths of this, and you'll see why in a minute. Right up to the edge. And now you'll see that middle piece is thinner. We're not going to get another piece in there, it's going to overlap. We don't want an overlap because it'll mess about with the radius. So what we do is we go and grab a thinner one, which will fit in the gap, like so. And that will fit in the gap right there, look. And that's that, and that's all in there. And then what I'll do is I'll take a Stanley blade and we'll get this all started off peeling. I'll peel it from the centre or peel it from one of the edges. We'll unroll some of this. Stick that on there, where we've got an overlap, we'll cut the edging off on the overlap, and we'll have a look at this. There you go. So we'll fold it over, we'll cut that to shape, and we'll have a radius beam with the sandpaper on that we can remove later, and then I can go over to the guitar and we can level those frets. Now let me just show you how I do this part. Where it's stuck down, we're just going to peel up, and it should just peel up like so. There you go, and there it is, look, and there it's peeling up, look, so we can just get the, once we get each one started, we don't want to get anything bored up, so we need it nice and clean. That's one started. Yeah, there we go. Two started. And this way we're going to go from this side, and again, just nice and gentle, don't force anything. Take your time, get it right. And there you go, and that is everything peeled off, ready for the 230 bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to just take that, we're going to overlap ever so slightly, cut to length, or cut overcut. Take it to the far side. Crease in there, don't want that crease in there, but there you go, we've sorted that out. Don't worry about that bit overlapping, we could even leave that on there if we really wanted to, it's not going to do any harm. What we do with these bits is we just tear to there, bend it over, same again this side. And this will arc round to create the radius. And there you go, we have a radius beam. That we can just leave on there, we can cut off whatever we want to do, but we now have a radius beam. I could take a blade, I've got a blade somewhere, and just remove this. Like so. And there you go, we have a radius beam, 7 1/4 inch radius beam, ready to go over to the guitar, which is on the jig over there, and we can re-radius the frets. So I'm on the other bench, the neck is on the jig. I've been across at spot leveling some of the frets, and I'm just, with the neck on the jig, I'm going on and just checking frets every now and again. I've got them all covered in black pen. And I've already done some work on this. I'm just checking for high spots. I've been over with my file, precision file, diamond file, just to remove some material from the higher frets. And I'm just checking that we're more or less level, because if we are, we can go across with the beam. So everything's looking pretty good so far. We're up to the 14th fret, everything's pretty much level. Like I say, the neck is not dead straight, but the level, or the playing surface, is the tops of the frets, not the fingerboard. So what we'll do is we get the fingerboard and the neck as straight as we can, and then we level across the frets. And these are looking fantastic. I think these are just about level now. Right, we've got them more or less level with each other across the whole length of the guitar, so we're going to mark them up with marker pen. Now, this is saying level, so what we're going to do is we're going to go over with the leveling beam, this beam, roll radius beam, we're going to remove all of the pen. And once all of the pen's removed, we'll be level along the whole length of the neck. And that's what we're going to leave it as. We're going to just recrown the frets as they are. So, all being well, I could put a little fret guard on there just to stop me paggering the nut, if I remember where I've put it. I do have one knocking about somewhere, bear with me guys, I'll have a look. Here it is, straight away, found it. This is a little protector I made, it's like a ramp. There it is, it's like a ramp, it's thicker at that end than it is the other. It's like a little ramp, and it'll just stop. File, in fact I can take some of that from underneath, don't need all that under there. It's like a little ramp just for the file there, or for the beam, it'll stop it hitting the nut. But I'm not going to use that, I'm going to stop short of it anyway. So now with everything just about where I need to be, I can just go gently backwards and forwards with the beam. And I'm hitting the nut ever so slightly. Give me more anyway. About there. I didn't lock the jig down, so the jig is slightly moving, but everything's going as we expect. A little bit of black just down this end, so I'm going to concentrate at this end. I've got the frets are closer together here, so it'll take a little bit more work than there because these are more spaced apart. I would say, guys, that we are done. We are silver topped, so let me just grab, I don't know where the brush is, I've got a brush that does this, I'll put it down somewhere. Now that should be the frets level along the whole length and radius to 7 1/4 inches. Well, I've got some that are quite high up here, so we've gone quite a bit lower, but let's just check the frets where we are. Like I say, the neck is not perfectly straight, but the level is the frets. Now this, my friends, is looking very good. So I'm going to get another many years out of this guitar. The neck was in a bad way when it came to the workshop. It was backbowed quite severely. And those frets, my friends, are level. So that's a job very well done. We've maintained the radius. And what I am going to do is, I'm going to take my levelling beam now, because that's 240 grit on there. I'm going to hit it with the 400 grit on the levelling beam. This is my Crimson Guitars levelling beam. And we're going to hit it with a 400 grit side, which is this side here. And that will remove some of those scratches, deeper ones. But what we're going to do is we're going to mark tops of these frets again, because I'm going to remove all of this black pen. And these frets have gone a little bit lower. We're right at the cusp of whether I can, of where I can recrown. We're probably about 0.8 mil. Any lower than this, and I wouldn't want to be recrowning them. I'd want to be taking them out and replacing them with something taller. I did consider a refret, but I decided that this is the best way for now. So there you go. So with the 400 grit, I do need to change this paper on this beam. We are just about done. There's a little bit of black pen in a couple of areas I want to get rid of. Let me have a look, see where we are now. And this is giving us a beautifully level playing surface. So the neck, taken a long time to get this neck anything near straight. Giving a lot more hours than I'm charging for, which is fine. These frets are now level. It's all about getting this guitar playable. How long will this neck last? I have no idea. We've straightened it, it's had a lot of back bow. What could I safely say? You're going to get, if you don't get 10 years out of it, I'd be very surprised. But that, my friends, looks beautiful. I've got one with a pen on just there. I'm just going to have another go at this one. A few at this end. I think we've got them all now. It sounds worse than it is. I am hitting that nut, I'm not whacking it, I'm just dropping onto it. And there you go, my friends, and we have silver topped frets along the whole length of the guitar. So those frets are level. We'll win that. So what we're going to do is, don't forget I've still got to scrape this fingerboard, so I'm not bothered about any marks on the fingerboard at the moment. It's still got to be scraped. We've pressed these frets back in and glued them in. I'm going to charge an extra hour for that. The guy got back to me and says, no, you should charge something for that. He says, you shouldn't charge nothing. So I'm going to charge another hour on top, another hour labour. We shouldn't need to remove the nut because the frets are now lower than they were when the nut was in before, so there's no need to replace the nut. It is a bone nut. That's nice and clean now. I'm not worried about the fingerboard. Like I say, I've got to completely scrape that fingerboard yet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tape up the whole fingerboard, leaving just the frets exposed. There's also the fret edges I need to sort out because where the wood shrunk ever so slightly. I'm going to see what file I've got to hand here. This is a perfect one. This is my Swiss file, my Valorbe file made in Switzerland, perfectly flat. It is a number 2 cut, it is so smooth. And this is the file I'll actually use when hitting the edge of the frets, and there you go, we are hitting the edge of the frets here, and it's not going to take a lot of work. This file really goes through them. And I'm just removing any of those edge burrs that are sticking out slightly. No, you don't get any frets sticking out. That feels really, really smooth. That's beautiful. So this side, it's still got a couple there. Again, flat side. So a couple up here. I'll be able to do this better once I've got the neck in a vise. But that, my friends, is good enough. And I should don't forget, I've still got to roll these edges over. So I'm ready now to tape up the fingerboard. I'm going to give it a quick clean. The dog is in the way. Move that way, Ross. Just move up there. Just move up there. Good boy. Get some Zippo lighter fluid on there, naphtha. We don't get naphtha in England, but we do get Zippo lighter fluid. It is the same stuff. So I'm just going to give that a little spray. Fingerboard, that'll clean it all up. Beautiful, there you go. It's the real stuff, folks. No cheap copies here. And this will evaporate, the tape will stick to this better. So I wouldn't be professional if I wasn't going to measure these frets and check the height of them, would I? I did say if we get anything under 0.8 millimeters, they're going to be too low to crown. We're going to be quite close to that, I think. I think there's enough left on there for me to crown these frets. So let me grab my caliper. Dog's gone straight back to the same place, look. Very clever, Ross, very clever. Give him no leeway there at all, have you? He doesn't even know I'm talking about it. He does. Bear with me guys, just set up my caliper. Right. Flatten it out, zero it, and let's check the frets. 1.03, we do like that. This one down here. 1.01, so we do have enough to recrown. Keep checking every few. Check here. 0.97, just enough. 1.05, no, 1.05, yeah, at this end. So a little bit more meat at this end, at the dusty end. Same again. .1 exactly. So we've got about a mil. So we've got plenty, we've just got enough. Zero that out again. Let's take the battery out of this, otherwise the battery dies really quickly. So we have enough here, so let's check the level again. And you see, if one says 0.107, but that means there's undulation in the fingerboard. Some of the frets will be actually physically higher in certain areas because some are not seated as well as others. So we always do the level check with this. We're not bothered about what the measurements are saying. We will just check if there's enough meat left on the frets for me to crown them, and there is. These frets are perfect. Like I say, your playing surface is the frets, not fingerboard. Beautiful. Right, really, really happy with that. Fret edges are feeling quite nice. A couple of sticky outer ones there, but we'll sort this out in a little while. So let us take up fingerboard. This has been up with this tape. I'm not going to buy this brand again. Ceratec, is it something? I've been buying this tape for years, and all of a sudden it started splitting on the roll. I don't know why. Let me zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. This will make an interesting video. It's going to be a long video, I'll tell you that. And you can see what I'm doing now. So I always put a strip down the side so I can remove the tape easier later on. It'll become clear shortly when I do this. Will become clearer shortly. Make it easier to remove all of the tape that goes across a little bit later. So where are we there? We are there. We are here. And now you see, guys, when I come to taping up each individual fret, all around each individual fret like so, that strip underneath will make it easier to remove all these bits later. See, I made these a bit longer than I normally would. Don't know why I've done that, just have. But there you go, we're going to tape up the whole fingerboard, leaving just the frets exposed. That's a bit clever, that's overlapping the fret. Just leaving the frets exposed, then we can just work on the frets. It's going to take me a while to get this all done, so I'm going to stop the camera, get this all done, and I'll bring you back in a while. I'd normally use a StreamAct Z file on the frets, and I'd build that crown up because we've levelled the frets flat and we need to remove all that crown. But today I'm just using a brand new StreamAct file, which is for narrow and or medium frets, and this creates that crown itself. It's got it built in. And I've seen many of my friends use just one of these files, and he says, why are you using a Z file? This rounds them off just perfectly well. And it really does. And it's got the concave cut in there. It's a diamond file, and it just does the trick really, really well. And with all the frets covered in marker pen, I'm just filing until there's a thin black line down the centre of the fret, and the more you file, the thinner it gets. And when it gets relatively thin, erring on the side of probably a little bit too thin, that's when you know you've got a perfect crown. And the trick with this is to keep that thin black line on the top, because then you're not removing any material from the top. And these frets are perfectly crowned now. And that's the third one I've done already. And always clean your file after a fret. And that's it. And it's going to take me no time at all with this file. It cuts really, really quickly. But what I can do is every time I've cut and hit some frets, I can just check for level. Then absolutely fine, because we're not removing any material from the top. So I'm going to crack on just with this one file today. And yeah, it's very, very impressive. It's brand new this, I've never used it before. keep checking. I think that line's a little bit thick still, so we'll just keep going. They're beautiful. So I'm going to crack on, get these done, and once they're done, we can move over to, we'll take it off the jig and we'll move over to the polishing table and we'll get these frets polished. Welcome back, fret friends. Just getting ready to polish the frets, but before I do that, I'm going to need to check the frets are level. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean my files. Now, I do have a brush to clean with, which I'm going to clean with in a second. But I also have some compressed air in a can. And that should free anything that's loose. Same here. And that is the job done. Something I bought a year or two ago, this compressed air, and I use it quite a bit. Very, very useful. So, what have I done with that there brush? I do have a metal brush, a file cleaning brush knocking about somewhere. I've mislaid it. So I don't know exactly where it is right now. Where did I use it the other day? It's normally in this pot here, but I can't find it today, so this pot's useless. I've got a paintbrush holder coming, like a rack thing which will hold all of my hand tools, screwdrivers and what have you. But anyway, we're just going to check the frets. I'm not files clean enough to do what I need to do today. So, we're just going to check the frets for level. 1 fret rocker. So we'll just recrown them, taking this off the jig. We'll remove the neck from the piece of MDF shortly. Tiny rock on number 4 there. So we're just going to follow the radius and check again. Just in that small area just there. As long as we follow the radius over, it'll find its own level. And there we are. So we check back 1, check forward 1. So number 5 comes slightly high because I've removed some material from there. So that's okay, that's normal. That's that remedied. And now we're all good. So in principle what we've really done is we've straightened the neck. We've taken a lot of time doing it, so a lot of time, a lot of clamping. But we've got it as straight as we can. We've now got the frets level and we've got the frets recrowned. So basically we've saved the neck. And that's beautiful. And I'm not charging a lot for this. The fret level we've set up is 135 quid. I'm going to charge 50 quid. I've charged 85 quid to straighten the neck. Anyway, what we're going to do now is we are just going to recrown those frets. I'll just work frets 4 and 5 with the same file. Just where there's any flat spots, just to get that crown back on there. That feels good. They are beautiful. Anyway, where I see a flat spot like this one, probably a little bit more crowning. I'm just going to give it a little scoot. We're not removing anything from the top, we're just removing stuff from the edges with this. me. And that's it, we have level frets. So what I can do now is, I can remove it from this piece of MDF. I could polish them as they are on here. Probably going to be easier with it flat to the base or flat to the table. So get these files out of the way, ready for cleaning. Just put those out of the way for a minute. I'm going to flip the neck. Let's get these out. Be a lot easier to work. That's on the table. And we're going old fashioned route with a screwdriver, not my electric screwdriver, my hand screwdriver. So I want this one finished today, boxed up, ready to go back to its client, back to its owner. We being Thursday this week. Now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to post till Monday because I don't like posting on a Friday because things are sat in warehouses over weekends and that's when accidents or things. So when accidents happen or when things tend to disappear. So I'm going to post it Monday. It's probably going to go by DHL because my wife's off work so they can pick up. It's a lot cheaper to send by DHL than it is parcel force, and I will insure with securesus.com as I always do. There you go, and that's the neck free. Means I can just polish the frets in that position, like so. So isn't that great? So let me get set up and I'll bring you back in a short while. Hi guys, so something really weird happened. I have loads of sandpaper in here in this workshop somewhere, but could I find any 2 days ago when I needed it? No, I couldn't, so I've had to go out and I've had to buy some. Unfortunately, on Amazon, there's someone selling packs of 400 grit through 2000. So you've got 400, 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500 and 2000, 7 different grits. And I got 2 lots of it delivered for £4, £4 Great British pounds. If you don't know what a quid is. So it's quite thick, so it's going to be a bit more difficult to work, but I've got plenty here to last me a good while. So I'm just going to cut some off. I'm going to cut these 7 pieces together, if I can. And there you go, and I have enough there, easily enough to do this whole guitar. So I'm just going to put this lot away. Right, so I've got plenty left. I'm going to polish the frets. Now the bad thing about this is all really quite stiff and hard, which the other stuff I've got, the stuff I normally use, is quite a lot more flexible. So line it up from thickest grit to thinnest grit. I'm going to polish these frets. Now to do so, I'm going to need to adapt myself a latex glove, which I have a big box of latex gloves over here, and I wouldn't wear it like this. I'm not going to wear it like this. I'm going to wear it with a full glove on because it makes your hands sweat. What I tend to do is I remove the thumb. Fingers I'm not polishing with. I polish with my two victory fingers. So I'm going to cut the ends off the other. I could cut the whole finger off really, there's no difference. And the thumb. Like so. There's no reason having much finger on there, is there? So I may as well take that off. And this then becomes the glove I just use for polishing, like so. And it's just a matter of, this is far too much on here, but that's okay. And it's just a matter of the 400 grit going over the top, going into the sides, and this is going to remove the scratches, and it's also going to help bring them to a shine a little bit later on. So this is going to take me a good while. It's not my favourite job in the workshop. It takes a while, it's quite boring. And like I say, It'll take a while, so I'm going to crack on, go through all 7 grits, get the scratches removed, and we'll do the final polishing with some super fine steel wool. Once that's done, we'll remove the tape, we'll clean up the fingerboard, we'll clean up the fret edges, and we'll get this back on the guitar and get the guitar set up and ready to go. Welcome back, guys. I've just finished polishing the frets. We've been through with the 7 grits with wet and dry sandpaper. We didn't use it wet, we just used it dry. Finished off with superfine steel wool. And look at these frets now. Let me just, we'll leave you there. I'll just move the camera there. I'm going to zoom out just a little. Look at these. I don't know if you've seen what I'm seeing, but they are just wonderful. So I've gone through the 7 grits. Finished off with superfine steel wool. What I need to do now is remove this tape. This is why I put this long strip down this way. It helps remove. Just get this a little bit off. Helps us remove from the edge, because we can get underneath for the most part, and it gives us a start. And you know, you'll see it working. Once this is done, we're going to still got file the edges of these, because with the wood slightly shrinking, we're using heat. Got little bits of sharp edges, which I'm going to sand back when I get back up on the. Probably stick the guitar back on the jig. I could stick it back on the piece of MDF, bolt the body to that. So a lot of work in this. If I was charging by man hours for this job, I know I've mentioned it a few times about the price on this, I just want to let you know, guys, that if I charge man hours on this job, it'd be a lot more expensive. I wouldn't charge man hours on a job like this, but you see, with those strips on the side, it helps us to remove this tape a lot easier. Look at this. And you do get this, you can get this where it breaks a little. And the tape residue is on the fingerboard, so I've got to get it off. So what I will do is, I will give this a good soaking in some mineral oil on there. Now remember, these frets have been re-glued and reclamped. We've lost an inlay there, clean this tape somewhere, so I've got to get all this tape open and find that inlay. Once come out, that's due to the heat. If I don't find it, I've got some inlays. Got some correct size ones knocking about in the workshop. I'm going to get that tape, go through that tape in a minute and find where it is. Like I say, this is all live. We have lost an inlay there. So what I'm going to do is I'll sift through this off camera and I'll find that inlay. And normally I can find it by looking at the width. And it's not going to be in that part, because that part is not wide enough. So we'll get it from here in a minute. Here it is. Here's that inlay lock. I found it right there. And it's going to have a little piece missing because there's some still inside. So we'll get some glue on that in a minute. We'll fix that. I think it goes in that way. So this tape's been a long time, so it's did a little bit better than I'd liked it to have done. But that's, you know, it happens. So yeah, I know I mentioned money a few times on this video, and I do on quite a few videos, but I'm not money driven. This is all about the end result and the client satisfaction. So here we go. And we don't really have any sticking out there. A little tiny bit you can feel. But that is, disregard this inlay, which I'm going to glue back in, and disregard the state of the fingerboard. It's the frets we're looking at. These frets are fantastic. Now they've all been glued, pressed in and glued, or clamped in. So there's no gaps under these frets. Now these frets had gaps more or less under all of them. So we've more or less got a new neck here. We've given it longevity and extra life. And I dare say you're going to get another 5-6 years out of this before it wants refretting. Maybe we could have gone for a refret because these frets are pretty low. But we're still going to get, it's going to play perfect. Now, I'm thinking, trying to suss out which way this goes in. It will have a bit of curvature to the top. So I'm just having a look. Right, it goes in this way. That's the way it goes in. We're going to go with a blob of super glue, which I've always got to hand. Looking at it, I can see the super glue under that side, so it goes in this way. And hopefully it'll find its level. Super glue residue there. But there you go, well that is in perfect. Don't need to tape it or anything, we just need to leave that there a minute or two. We'll let that do its thing. Ah, it's beautiful and smooth. So that's fantastic. So we've got that back. I'm going to douse this in, you know, it's lemon oil, it's mineral oil, especially formulated for the darker woods. And I've gone excessive, I've got far too much on there. And these companies that make this stuff know what they're talking about. It's not lemon oil, it's mineral oil with some lemon essence in it to make it smell nice. That's the only reason the lemon's in there. There is no chemical benefit to it at all. But the mineral oil, especially formulated for these darker woods, does it soak? It doesn't soak in deep like you think it would. It's just a surface mount, and this is going to help remove and get underneath the grime and the crap. We've still got some tape residue in certain places as well where we overlap the tape, which I'll be removing, but this is going to help me remove the tape residue. And I'm going to leave that on there a short while and let that do its thing. But there is the neck now. The neck is straight, the frets are level, they're perfectly recrowned and they're polished up. And that, in effect, is a much better neck than came into the workshop. You know, how good is that, guys? And with the excess oil on my fingers, I'll just run a bit over the back. I might even give it a little spray because I can use this as a cleaner. And any tape residue on there, this will help me wipe it off. Just a thin layer. Well, with it being lacquered, it's going to spread really easily. Remind ourselves, this is a made in Japan Fender. Great piece of kit, and I'm sure the owner is going to be absolutely in love with this guitar when he gets it back. I will be. So there you go, we are getting towards the end of this fantastic project that I really enjoyed doing. I'm loving these frets. They're all now down to the board. We are level frets now, that's beautiful. So that's it, guys, for now. I'm going to get rid of this residue. Tape residue off here. I'll get some more oil on it again, wipe it all off, and we'll come back and look at the fret edges. You can just feel them. I don't think that is going to be something you're going to feel when you're playing, but I'm still going to sand down that side a little. Could even use some of this old sandpaper here. And you're not hearing anything. Just going to go down the side. And you're not gonna feel this. And that's fine already. You know, you really got to press your fingers in to feel anything there. So, you know, no stress with this at all. It is nicely worn on the edges, so there's a little bit of rollover anyway. The guy who sent these two guitars down to me, he says he's sent them many places down in London and he's just never been satisfied. He says he saw my videos on YouTube and he really liked, probably like the cut of my jib, that's been said more than once before.
And there you go, you can't feel those frets again now. It was ever so minor. And what I'll do is I'll go again with some steel wool going this way with a fret guard or fingerboard guard on there. But there you go guys, I'll come back and give an update in a while. Something I don't normally show, and I think I should. I've got a friend who coincidentally, yeah I don't believe in coincidence, is a guitar tech same as me. He's based down in Leicestershire. He's married to a Canadian girl like me, so we've got the same job, we've both got a Canadian wife, and we're very good friends. And we meet up every few months and we spend time together, and we do Canadian Thanksgiving together and whatever, and Christmas and whatever, and birthdays. And Nat, the female partner, Danny and Natalie Lint, down at leicestershire.co.uk. Very good friends. Very good close personal friends of ours, and we love them. And I was in one day and I said, what are you doing, Nat? And she says, I always leave this till last. I don't really do. I said, don't you wax the fingerboard up before you put glue on it? She says, no. I was just thinking, it's just as easy just to scrape it all off later. And this is pretty much the same things I'm doing with the glue, not with glue residue, but with the tape residue on this, you know. And she was meticulous about the way she did it. She got such a great technique and took so much care and attention to doing this part of the job. So thinking, you know, that's what I should attain that level also, which I've always tried to do anyway. It's just good reminders, you know. And like now, I'm wiping off that residue with this, as you can see there. Getting all that residue off where I've scraped the fingerboard. And there's another guy, I can't remember his name now on Facebook, Clive Burnage. He moved to America. He was the Epiphone man. He used to get old Epiphones, he used to do them all up and make them fantastic guitars. And he was meticulous in the work he did. And he commented on some of my work one day. He just said, your attention to detail is just amazing. And coming from Clive Burnage, it was great, really. Made me happy to have someone who's so professional, so great at the work he does, guitar work he does, to recognise my work and say the same about my work. I thought that was wonderful. So this, yeah, this is not the glue residue I'm removing, it's a tape residue. And we are early morning again. I've been in here since, I don't know, 6 AM. And we're about 7:45 in the morning now, so it's another hour and 3/4 I've spent on this guitar. I'm just in polishing the frets and getting rid of all this crud. But look at the difference. This end is all done, and we're going to work our way all the way down. Yeah, and that's it. And I'm going to turn the video off for a second because it is Sunday morning. I do like to have some of my church stuff on early doors. Sunday morning, there's some live stuff I love to tune into, which I'm tuned into right now, but I'm not listening because I'm doing this. Well, because I'm talking to you guys, but I'm going to not talk to you guys for a bit. I'm going to carry on, I'm going to get this order on, I'm going to put my sermon back on, and I'll get back to you guys later. To show you, that's what I've got on that fingerboard, just by giving it a quick scrape and a quick clean. So, putting the machine heads back on, I have my lovely little Stumac Guitarist toolkit here, which was a nice price bargain at £20, but shipping was £15. I let my Stumac's account run out, so I didn't get free postage. And a great little kit it is though, and it is worth the £35 a page. So what I'm going to do with these is I'm just going to tighten the two outside screws. Now we're back in there. And then I'm going to take a level. These are all not screwed in all the way. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to take a level, normally a what we call a rule, or commonly known as a ruler. I'm just going to use a straight blade, or the edge, just to line everything up nice, and then I'll come back in and I'll tighten each of these screws. So everything's in a nice straight line. And everything is back in place, as it were, so to speak. And the neck is now resembling the neck. They're nice and straight. Fingerboard's nice and clean. The frets are all reworked and done. I'm zoomed in a little bit too much there. There you go. And how's that? And we're now looking like a real guitar neck again. So we're just about ready to go back on the guitar. I'll pat myself on the back and say, Victor Kroll, good work. So more or less finishing up on this guitar. I've got the neck back on the body. A few things still need to do. Check the electrics for scratching pots, if they are scratching, which they probably are. Going to remove a control plate. We're going to get some switch cleaner in there, some Service Old Super 10, which is my chosen switch cleaner. I've always used this. We'll also be checking the electrics, obviously. Pickup heights. We've got the intonation to sort out. We've got the radius to sort out. We've got to do the setup, cut the nut slots, blah blah blah, whatever. Find out what this switch does. It may be a coil split for this. It may be a phase switch. I don't know. I'm going to see if I have a switch tip for this up here. In fact, I'll have a look right now, because I do have some. I don't have a Telecaster one, but that slot there is wider than this slot on here, so it doesn't fit. See if we've got anything that fits. Anything is better than nothing, right? And I'm thinking, don't think I have an actual Telecaster or a Fender one. Doesn't look like I have. Doesn't look like I have anything wide enough. Which is a shame. He can easily source himself something on the internet and put something on there. I don't have anything that's going to fit that. And I'm not going to heat anything up and melt anything on because just because. So I don't have anything, which is unusual, but that's the way it is. So I'm sure I can find myself a switch tip. If I'd have looked and remembered earlier, I'd have gone and sourced one. But anyway, I'm going to crack on with that, check the pots. We'll get some switch cleaner in there if needed and blah blah blah. It makes me think I already got some switch cleaner in the electrics here, but I've just gone again. They're not scratchy or anything, the pots, they're fine. I remember this being bent, which is now straight, and I also remember taking the screws out that hold in the plate. They are a little bit loose, so what we're going to do is we are going to sort that problem out. And we're going to use some of my favourite bits of repair kit, which are cocktail sticks. I love these things. And we're going to just stick them in the hole, and they're not wide enough. Those holes are bigger than they need to be. What we are going to do is we're going to snip off. We're going to check the depth on these, and we're about there. So we're about 1 centimetre. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip the ends off, because I will snip the ends off on the second part. I could use a better tool than a scissor. I think we should go with a cutter. Let's go with a cutter, because it's going to give us a much cleaner cut and nothing's going to fly away. And we're going to do the same this side. And that's fantastic. We're going to do it again. We're going to go in, we're going to check the depth. We're going about 1 centimetre. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to glue these in. Don't need to glue it in. You can glue them in, but not necessary. That's a little bit, that's actually quite tall, taller than it needs to be. So I'm going to cut this one a little bit shorter. It's just to give us something to bite, for a screw, something to bite against. Now that one is fantastic, it's exactly the right height. And what we'll do then is we'll stick one of these in, where it's thinner at one end, and this should really tighten everything up. And this gives us a whole new piece. Something better than that, we're going to want a posi drive to press this wood in into the hole. And that's fantastic. And this one may be enough on its own. I'm going to just push that right in there. And that's going to give us something more to bite against. And this one, that screwdriver's too big. And what I could do is I could get a dab of super glue and just drop it in the hole. that's nice. And we can let that screw start a new hole. Oh, there you go. And that is tight. Oh, that is much better. There you go. And we are right in there. This one again, we can just give a squirt. Let the super glue just seep in. I've only just done one. That's stuck in there. This has already got something to bite against because there's still a bit of a gap in there. That's fantastic. Now that's really biting. And that's fantastic. It's exactly what I want. And there you go. We are super tight with the control plate. Now let's just check the electrics just to let you know. This is a coil split, by the way. That's full mode. And then we'll split this one. That's on. Screw coil, my slug is off. How good is that? We'll just put it on this one. On, off, on, on. Beautiful. So that's the coil split. So that's everything sorted out. So the electrics are working fine. Obviously does nothing on this. So we are ready to put the strings back on and get this guitar set up. We virtually have a new neck on here. How wonderful is that? I'm really pleased with the way this has gone. It's been a lot of work, it's had a lot of hours. I've already invoiced the guy. He's not paid me yet, but I've already invoiced the guy. I think for this one I've invoiced him, I don't know, I've charged him not a lot on this. I'll let you know a little bit later on. But yeah, so let's get some strings on it and get this guitar set up. Before we do that, let's just check all the screws under the bridge, that everything is tight. And that was a little bit loose, so let's get these all tightened up. Oh yeah, they've had a little 1/8 of a turn, these need. That's about a 32th of a turn. And this one here, which I can't quite get at, but I will get at it. There you go. No, we're not. Aha, here you go. There you go, just a little nip. So that plate is nice and tight on there. While we're at it, let's just check these. They're all benefiting from a little tweak, a little turn. But yeah, it's got a little bit of mojo, a little bit of patina, a little bit of fading on the plate. Did I not tighten these screws up before? I don't remember loosening them, but there you go. We are all in. Let's always check strap pin holders. That needed a little turn. And that's all good. So we're going to get some. We're going to make sure this fingerboard's dry. Still a little bit of oil just seeping out of the top there. So let's get our cleaning piece. We'll just give that a wipe. Yeah, it's looking fantastic. So all of the inlays are glued back in, all those that came out. That's beautiful. That was protruding just a little bit. I'm not going to take a file to it because it's going to mark the wood, so that's absolutely fine. It'll play absolutely fine. So we are ready to put some strings back on this guitar. That is really pleasing. So give me a while, we'll get some strings on and we'll get this guitar set up. So moving on to the next part, we are going to cut the nut slots now because the neck is slightly bowed up this way. The nut is higher than it normally would be, so I'm going to cut the slots a little bit deeper, which is absolutely fine. It just means the action here at the 12th fret and that is going to also drop, so I'm going to have to lift the saddles a little bit higher later on, but that's okay. I've set the radius on the saddles already. I've got the height above the 12th fret, 1.75mm this side, 1.5 that side, but we're going to be dropping the nuts in the slot to bring the strings closer to the frets, because the frets have significantly reduced the height of the frets. We've got about 0.8mm left on the frets. So making sure I have the right size files out for a 1046 set. I personally would have gone with 9s on this, but that's just me. I've been known to put 11s on a telly as well. So we've got a 10, a 13,
Next one is your 17, well we've got a 16. And we've got 26, 36, 46. We've actually got 28, 36 and a 46. So let's get the right ones out. There's a 46. So these are corresponding to each string. So I like to measure with a feeler gauge, and that I like this 0.3 this side, could go even lower than that if you wanted to. Now when you get that to down there, it's going to bring it even lower. People say I like to go 0.1 or something on this. I say yeah, that's with it pressed down at the 3rd fret. I don't press them down at any fret. I just drop them. So I'm going to go, what have we got here? 0.25 would probably be good, but I'm going to go with 0.3 for starters and see where we are later on. These are my measurements. And we are way high. We're at least 0.3, 0.4, but not too high. Now what you don't want to do with these is go too deep, because if you do, you'll be taking that nut out and replacing it. And that's going to take you time, and time costs you money. So we'll remove the one string, the strings are at pitch, tension is right, and we're going to make sure we are going in a straight line, not scratching the top of the frets, and we are just going to carve into that slot and angle slightly backwards. And again, now these files are my Hosco set. These are stainless steel, they're really sharp, and they cut a beautiful semicircular shape for the string to sit into beautifully. Now I've got I'm plugged into the tuner. That's just about an E. And that's still way high. So let's go with the same again. Just take your time with this. You're not racing against anything. Like I say, if you get it wrong, you'll be taking that nut out, putting a new one in. Cleaning the file. Certainly going lower with these than I would on a standard setups because the frets are so low. We're almost going down to the wood. So this guitar, it was in a really bad way when it got here. The setup was terrible. It's been an absolute pig to get right because the neck has needed that much treatment to get straight. In hindsight, I should have given this a refret. We're just buzzing there, so that's exactly where I want to be. That's fine because these frets, they're quite low. We're going to last. You get a few more years out of it, but maybe a refret would have been better. That said, it has been a pig to get right, but I've got it right. And I know the owner's going to be happy with it. Got a lovely action, got a nice little bit of relief in the neck now. There's no way he was getting relief before. The neck came to me, it was bowed that way. That's nice right there. Let's just do a little buzz here. And that is beautiful. And I'm suggesting the reason the setup was so bad on this guitar was we've not got the radius set properly on the saddles, and the nut slots weren't cut right. The nut slots are way too high. And with also having back bow in the guitar, you would have never got this buzz free. Have I got it buzz free? Well, I hope so. The amount of time I've spent on it, but it's been a lot of work. Like I say, I've not charged for all of the work. I think I've charged 225 quid for the work on this. I should have charged that just for straightening the neck. But right, but I do this for the love of the job and for satisfaction of the client. More than I do for, it's not like I need this money to live on. I've got my Royal Mail job, which is standard living money, which I'm able to save that money, put it in the bank for moving to Canada next year, which is fantastic, so blessed. So the next one, that's a 36. Again with this one, I need to drop it by about a third of a millimetre, maybe a little bit more. I'll swap these two strings over. Which I've got 1.036. There you go. Today's a Sunday. I'm working on a Sunday. I never work on a Sunday. Never have worked on a Sunday. Not because I'm a Christian. It's just I do a rest day. But today I just thought, I want to get this one done and get it out of the way. Now I've said to the guy, look, I want to ship tomorrow. My wife's waiting in for a courier tomorrow, and he can't afford to pay me. So at a later date, I've got to whiz down to the post office myself and drop these off. Which it's not ideal, but it's doable. It's doable. It's fine. This is 0.25 fuel gauge here. Now this one I want to get to about 0.28, so if you start getting a little bit of a buzz on that, that'll be fine. You can eyeball this. Once you've got it close, you just eyeball. Once you've got all 6 done, you just eyeball it. I do like where that is. So let's go to the next one, which is the 26. Just check the E first. Do like that one. The D string. The D string can go down a little bit more, but not too much. So it's actually very, very close. It means the radius on this nut was cut very badly. It was more or less flat. The reason you get fretboard system, well, one of the main reasons is you have back bow on the neck, but the thing is, where the guys have been taking it for setups in London, wherever that may have been, is the people setting it up don't know what they're doing, because they had back bow on the neck, yet they were cutting the nut slots and setting the radius of things, which you can't do. It's why I'm fret friend. Your frets are your level. I purposely chose the name fret friend because if your frets aren't friendly, then your guitar's never going to be any good. Absolutely, totally, 100% never going to be any good. Frets after, and don't forget, your playing surface is not the fingerboard, it's the top of the frets. The fingerboard obviously helps for, it is there behind, and that's where you press your strings onto, but your level has to be the tops of the frets. If you can't get your neck straight, you can't get your frets level. If your frets aren't level, you're going to get fret buzz. It's just the way it is. That's why I'm fret friend. My wife came up with a name in the car one day when I was struggling for a name. She says fret friend. I thought that's fantastic. That is brilliant. So I credit my wife for coming up with a name, fret friend, and that's why we're such a good team. No, that's good where that is. A little bit sitar-y that is, we just need to make sure that slot is cut correctly. I think that's fine. I know when this guitar leaves this place, it'll be the best setup it's ever had. And I'm not bragging about that. I just know it is because I know what the setup was like when they came in. And this guitar and another guitar with it was shipped down from London, or shipped up from London. I could have sent these, I could have got these sent to a guy in London or that way. My friend Simon Standard down at 81 Guitar Works. But he doesn't need the work. I need the work. He has as much work as him, because obviously I work at Royal Mail. I reject as much work as I take in. So this one I can tell the string is really, really high. That's half a mil too high, that is. This is why it's playing like a pig, and it is playing like a pig, this guitar. So we need the 16 over there, or 17 actually. But yeah, that slot is cut well high. Very badly cut, not this one. And we do come from a factory with a high action. Thing is, it doesn't mean I can go gung-ho in this, because it's quite, you know, you're quite tempted to go in that and go gung-ho. And what you're going to do is you're going to find you're going to cut that slot too deep before you know it. So just take your time. And because it should be 17 and this is as far as a 16, I'm going to come in at an angle like this. But I'm not going to go gung-ho. But this slot is way high. It's not way high now, so it's a little high. Take your time. See how it's pinching in there? It's because we need to go in at an angle like this and gently reduce the height and reduce the slot depth. But take your time. Don't go too deep. You'll be repairing that nut, which is what we tend to do, but ideally you should be replacing it if you mess it up. Anything like this, take your time. When they say time is money, it really is. What it means is, you know, the time you've spent doing something, you're going to have to spend more time pouring it right if you get it wrong. Like for instance, if I knacker this nut, it's going to take me 2 hours to replace it. 2 hours, it's 80 quid. That sounds nice. That sounds nice to my ear. Sound is, you feel sound as well as hear it. And there's a difference between heard sound and felt sound. It's like sometimes I can plug a guitar in and it can just feel, it feels right. It's like my Hamer downstairs. I have a 2006 Hamer Studio. And there's something about the sound of that guitar that just feels so good. There's more than acoustics in sound. Right, okay, let's have a look at this. Hopefully I'm not going too deep with that. That looks good. We're quite low there. That's brilliant. Is that a bone? I'm not convinced that is bone because it doesn't smell. It doesn't smell like bone. You know, you can always smell bone when you cut it. Oh, it's beautifully low there. That's about 0.2 mil. Now I do like that. We could go more than 0.2 mil on the whole lot, but I like to gradient it down slightly. I'm sure there are other guitar techs that go lower than I do. Someone's telling me that they go to this blah 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 XXX thousandths of an inch. Well, I'm English. I don't do thousandths of an inch. I'm not American. You Americans, you have to be different, and you do it all in non-metric. What's the word for non-metric? Imperial. Where everyone else is metric. This 13 and the 10, they're a mile high. 17 now is perfect. So the 13 is, no wonder this guitar wasn't playing right. Even when it was playing decent, it wouldn't have been playing right. These nut slots are way, way high. I mean, we're talking flying a kite. Again, don't go gung-ho. It's so easy to go gung-ho at it and go too deep. I've done it more than once. I've done it too many times. Take your time. Measure 500 times, cut once. Got 0.2mm on here. And we're very, very close, which is great. So I've gone gung-ho at that. Not gone too deep, but I tell you what, it didn't take me long to get that deep, did it? And that is done. Not very often I show all 6 strings being cut, but I'm going to show all 6 today. This is lowered 0.2 as well. I have in the past gone 0.12 up to about 0.2. You know, and that again would be fine. That, by the way, that B string is fine where it is. It's nice and low. We're exactly the same with the E string. Again, we can go a little bit gung-ho, but we're not going to go mental. So I can tell by eye, and I will eyeball this and make sure it's all right. So the 10 snapped at this end. Oh, you notice these are in holders. This is the 10 and the 13, or the 0.13, 0.013 and 0.010. The reason these are in the StewMac holders is they're right wibbly wobbly files. They go all over the place, and having them in these holders, they stay nice and straight, and you get a nice straight cut. Now this one seems a little bit blunt, but don't think it's not cutting, because it is. It's got to be a little bit steady with this one. And take your time. Again. I have to turn this. Well, I've got to turn it around, I've turned it this way instead. So, slight angle just to open that slot up a bit. You don't have to go so low with the 2 outside ones. I mean, that's quite high still. That blade doesn't cut too well, but we are getting there. And this will make a very interesting video. So, what do I think of this guitar? The guitar's it's good, it's great, but the neck is a mess. It has been a pig to get right. It's had a lot of time. I've not charged enough for this job, but the client's going to be really happy. When I move to Canada, I'm going to go with my rate. I'm going to be charging $40 an hour. I think it's about 30 quid over in Canada. Probably charge a little bit more, 45 an hour. Say my hourly rate here in England is 40 quid, but I very rarely ever charge that. Sun's up bright. I normally have this far blind closed. I'm not going to close it. That's why you can't see the guitar body. This blind is normally shut, which means I don't get the sunlight, and I'd love to be working in the sunlight, but when the camera is off, all the blind up, and I've got the sunlight. But the light I've got up here, the LED lights up the top there, the strip lights, they give me a great daylight. If you can see the guitar completely now. So let's have a look at where we are with these strings. I'm very happy with where they are. That's good. Happy with that. That's buzzing. That was a 0.20. It's going to be 0.25. See where we are. If we get a buzz on the 5th string, not much. But if we tilt it, that, very happy with where the strings are, and where those nut slots are cut. So the nut slots are cut Now I'm going to check the action at the 12th fret. I know we're going to be a little bit too low now. About 1.5 on the bass side. And 1.25 on the treble. We're going to go a little bit higher, but let's see where we are tuning wise. Don't have a plectrum up here, so I can't play proper, but I'll have a little tinkle in a minute. I'm not a great guitar player. I play punk and metal. You don't have to be a great guitar player. I'm not one of these. I'm not intricate. I do like, I've always written pretty good tunes. There's some kind of melancholy about the tunes I write. I think I'm a good rhythm guitarist. I'm not a brilliant lead player. I'm not one of these. I'm not one of these up at the dusty end doing twiddly biddly. That thing's never appealed to me really. Is that because I can't play that way, or is it because I never learned to play that way, or is it because it never appealed to me? Well, I'm lazy anyway. But I'm self-taught. Sounds good to me, that. That plays really nicely. The neck is got a little bit of relief in there, but that plays nice. Sorry, I want a brilliant lead player. But the guitar sounds nice. Hard to bend notes on this, but the frets are so weedy, it will be. So that will do. So it seems all right. I'm going to higher the action just a little bit. We're going to sort the intonation out, then we're going to be done. Other things I need to do, need to alter the action, bring the saddles up a little bit, sort out the intonation, then we are as good as done. So setting the intonation, it was clear that this saddle was not going back far enough, and that's because the spring is quite humongous for that. For where I need to be. So what I'm going to do is I do have some pre-cut springs, or some already cut springs in here. I'm not going to cut this one, it's a perfectly good spring, something I can use myself in the future. So I'm going to remove or empty my spring set here and see what I've got in the pot. And there you go, we've got a perfectly good spring right here that is virtually the same kind of diameter, and it's going to be a perfect replacement for that one, and it's going to give me the amount of adjustment I'm going to need. So let me introduce this one into the fold, and let's sort it out. Do you really need springs on these? Well, yeah. Not totally necessary. I had an Ibanez in that didn't have the springs. Now what you need to do with this is make sure it goes in straight, because this saddle needs to come back a long way. But I couldn't get the saddle back enough for the intonation, so the intonation's never been right on this guitar in a long time. Now I've been asked to put a set of 10s on here. I can't say because I put 11s on my telly, but I'm a heavy player and I love a heavy blues sound, but I've always put 9s on a Strat or a telly in the past. Now that is not going in right, so I'm going to have a swap screwdriver head. Now I need to get some long screwdrivers for this job. Good thing about this is you can use a flat head also, and that just gives you a better leverage like that. You see that's moving with every turn now, it's not slipping like a cross head can do. And we've got that a lot further back than it was before, so we should be able to get the intonation spot on now. And let's check the tuning first. The intonation was way out. And with having to move a saddle, I'm also going to redo the radius, which I will do. So let's check 12. That's beautiful on me, eh? That's it, we've got the intonation where it needs to be. Now, bear in mind I've got to stretch the strings in yet. Intonation is now spot on. Tiny bit sharp on the A, but there has to be a little compromise. No, we're good. That's fantastic. So move over to the D and the G. So again, both are sharp. On the 12th fret means we need to move the saddle closer to the bridge. If we're sharp at the 12th, we move close to the bridge. Sharp and right from this position. Sharp and right 5 letters. Flat, you go left, or you go towards the headstock. Left, flat and left are 4 letters, so you always know which way to go. If your fretted note at the 12th is sharp, you move to the right. If it's flat, you move to the left. 4 and 4, 5 and 5. So again, same thing here. We may have to shorten the spring on this one as well. Let's see how much adjustment we can get. And hopefully this is an interesting video for you guys. It'll be a nice long one. We've not got enough adjustment on the spring. So again, I'm going to have to take the spring out and replace it. So I'm going to check the B and the E as well. If I've got to change all 3, I'll just take all 3 out and I'll cut each one. So I've not been given the full story on this guitar. I was not told anything about the intonation problems. Well, the B and the E are fine, so I don't need to change the spring there. So I do need to change the spring on the D and the G. So I will do that off camera. I'll get all the intonation set, I'll get the radius reset, we'll get the setup done. I'll do this off camera. Makes it easier and quicker for me. So I'm Victor Vivid today. I've got my new Royal uniform shirt on today, so I'm a little bit more vivid, which is nice. So right at the tail end of this guitar, I just want to check the action. It's Wednesday. We're always busy at Royal Mail on a Wednesday. That action is right low there, it's about 1¼ mil. So we're going to have to bring these strings higher. So I'm re-radiusing the whole thing, and hopefully. I'm going to take everything a little bit higher than it probably needs to be. I've played this in the last few minutes and I noticed it was rattling a little bit, but the action is really low. So I'm going to set this to where everything needs to be. Right, 1.5mm adjusters on these saddles. I wonder if they're a later replacement or the Japanese ones do have metric sized screws and whatnots. So again, let me check the action at 12. 175 on the bass, 175 on the treble. So the treble is too high, so let us drop that down to where it needs to be. And we shall check again. This is at the 12th fret, right, 1.5, 1.75 exactly. So the two outside strings are exactly where I would like them to be. So now we're going to check the radius. Remember, it's a 7 1/4 radius this. Now people tell me you should set your radius on at 9.5 regardless. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm probably still going to set it at 7.25. So what we do is, hopefully the 4 middle strings are higher than the 2 outside ones. We just line up with the 2 outside strings. We take everything higher. So let's do exactly that. I'm going to set everything above where it needs to be. There's a lot of fiddling and fannying about with this, but sometimes it takes that to get it right. Now these are coming really tight, I could snap a string here. So let's see where we are. That's looking pretty much spot on. Still a little bit low. We'll loosen the strings slightly because that gives me more like, there you go, a little bit looser. So we are pretty much where we need to be. We need to go a little bit higher on this one. I think I may set it to 9.5. I don't want the strings too, because they were too low in the middle there. Right, let's have a look where we are there. And that looks to be pretty much bang on. We need a guitar lead. Got one here. Turn the tuner on. It's great having this wrap tuner. Just saves messing about. I can see everything from where I am. It's right up against the back wall there, which is beautiful. Helps if we turn it on, doesn't it? Right, there you go. So, of course I've got my stupid tools in the way so I can't see it. Right, there you go. Get it close. I'm going to eyeball it now. So eyeballing it, I'd say that D string is a little bit high, the A string is a little bit high. Just by eyeballing, That looks pretty good. The G doesn't look too bad. The B probably a little bit high. But eyeballing that looks fantastic. I would have gone with 10s, I would have gone with 9s on this. Let's do a heavy player. I do, like I say, I have 11s on mine, but I play slightly different to conventional. Sounds okay, sounds nice. Let's just check the action again. It's at 1.75, but it looks higher. Just gonna drop a smidgen. Drop that a smidgen as well. Sometimes it just doesn't look right with the eyeball. Sometimes it's best just to go with the eyeball. Seems to play alright. Plectrum, that's what I was looking for. Maybe the middle strings are a bit high. So no buzz. Drop these a little and I'll be quite happy with that. Certainly not buzzing anymore. That looks nice to me. I'm quite happy where everything is there. I'm going to recut that nut slot. Sounds a little bit sitar-y as well. Of course, tuning is going to change when this is in the box being shipped down to London. So when you get this guitar, if it's a little bit out of tune, it normally is the case when it's been cased and shipped. Sticky fingers. See, I've not warmed up, but so that plays fine to me. I'm playing sloppy, of course, but that's it. So for all intents and purposes, this guitar is finished. So a lot of work. Let me try and remember everything it has had. Well, the neck came in with backbone. Straightened the neck, taken a long time. It's been on the jig 2 or 3 times. It's been heat treated 2 or 3 times, which meant I had to also file all the edges of the frets. We have levelled and recrowned all of the frets. These are about as low as I would like frets to go. There's about 0.8, 0.9 millimeters left on these frets. I certainly would not like to go any lower. We've completely set the guitar up again. We've altered the saddles, we've set the radius, we set the intonation, we set the amount of relief in the neck, we've cut the nut slots, we've tightened every nut and bolt on the guitar, we've cleaned and sprayed the electrics, tested every nut and bolt and put a brand new set of Diodario 10s on there. I've also checked the height of the pickups, and that, to me, looks wonderful. I'm really happy with how this has come out. Personally, for me, frets are too low. I always put high frets on a guitar when I refret a guitar, normally 1.4 millimeters high, which after a level gives you about 1.2, 1.3 millimeters. That way you get plenty of height above the fingerboard, because remember, your playing surface are the frets, not the fingerboard. But these are a little bit low for me. Maybe in hindsight we could have refretted it. But that said, you're still going to get 5-10 years, maybe more, out of this guitar as it is. I'd love to refresh it thinking about it, but you know, hey ho. But what a beautiful, beautiful looking guitar. It looks just like the American Deluxe. Fantastic looking thing. I'm hoping the client gets a lot of enjoyment out of it. The pickups are beautiful. I love the humbucker in there. It looks really good. Couldn't find a switch tip for it, so we didn't put one on. It's a 3-way. We've got a coil split there for that net for the neck pickup. And that's it, all done. It is a made in Japan Fender Telecaster. I can't tell you anything else about it. I don't know what year it was made, but what a beautiful looking thing. It's come in, it's had intensive work. I've certainly not charged as much as I ought to have charged, but that is no big problem. I'm quite happy that, I'm just happy with the work, and I'm happy that it's going back to its owner and he's going to enjoy it. As I say, my work is guaranteed. If you're not happy with anything at my expense, I will ship it back to myself. And I will put right what you think is wrong. If it is wrong, if it comes back and it's not wrong, you give me the shipping money back. That's how it goes. I can't say fairer than that. The reason I warranty all my work is if you go with my recommendation, right, then I will warranty my work. I've got a guitar in today. He's not going with my recommendation. He's going for a cheap option, so I will not be warrantying that work on that guitar. It's not this guitar. It's also not Kim's other guitar either. But that is it. This one is finished. It's been a beautiful project and I've really, really enjoyed it. But until the next time, that is it. Just before I do go, remind you of my website. Facebook's the best place. Facebook.com/NG17. That's Facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. All my YouTube videos go on there. Yeah, anything you need to know about me, you can find on the Facebook page. And that is it until the next one. So as always, God bless you. Be good to each other. And I will see you in the next one.